All right, good morning, good morning. I'm John Ahmann. Very happy to welcome you to our Transform Westside Summit. So we are officially beginning at 7:45 a.m., our start time, so we'd love for you to come in and take a seat so we can start our program. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So we are now officially broadcasting live as well. So we're up live on our social media. So as part of the welcome for our Transform Westside Summit, I see so many familiar faces. Thank you for being here. I always like to start our program with first just asking who is here for the first time, because I always want to especially acknowledge. All right, I saw the hand. All right, some first timers. Excellent. Thank you for being here. There's no special carve out. Nothing's going to happen to you, but we do, because what I love now, having been doing these Transform Westside Summits over a decade, is how they help us build community. And for everyone else that's still here, because we do want to move over with our program, to come on and take a seat, please. But for those that are here for the first time, our program today, I'm going to speak for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to introduce our devotion speaker. We always have a devotion. Once we finish the devotion, our director of the Home on the West Side, Tamika, is going to come up and share some of our. We're really excited about our rental and home ownership portfolio, so share a little bit about that. We're going to take a few minutes for fellowship, so people have an opportunity to say hello to their neighbor. And then our featured guest this morning, I'm really excited. I think it'll be a wonderful program. Courtney English, the mayor's chief of staff. So Courtney has been leading really the mayor's top initiative for his second term, called Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative, all about reinvesting in neighborhoods on the west side. So we'll look forward to a conversation with Courtney to give an update. And we've also knew it would be really interesting for folks to have an opportunity to ask Courtney questions. So we've made sure to bake in time for questions as well. So if you're here for the first time, I want to make sure you know that we have a monthly newsletter. So please sign up for our monthly newsletter. We talk a lot about what's going on in the community. If you have something you want us to feature in the newsletter, please let us know, so we can lift that up as well. We also want to remind you, especially if you're in the summit, to encourage more people to come, encourage more people to get engaged. I think we've got our Get Engaged slide that's going to come up next. Yes, there it is, all our hashtags. And then we will always, as a reminder, end the Transform Summit. So those of you that are here for the first time, we have a drawing for a Home Depot gift card and a Goodwill of Georgia gift card. So we'll call it out at the end. You should have gotten a ticket, but you have to be here to get it. We don't call you up if you leave early and you win. So keep you all the way through. And now I'm gonna shift to introduce our devotion speaker. But those that are joining us for the first time, as part of our metaphor of building community, we lean into the story of Nehemiah from the Old Testament. And Nehemiah as an inspiration for the work that we're doing today. And if you're not familiar, Nehemiah in the Old Testament is when he feels called to go back to Jerusalem as a ring bearer for the king, which kind of gave him special privileges at the time. And all about rebuilding first the physical Jerusalem, the broken walls, but really for me, the deeper reflection of the story is the values that are being used to rebuild community. And so we just use that as a touchstone for our speakers, not necessarily speak from Nehemiah, but kind of use it as inspiration for their devotions. But we've always done these devotions, and one of the things that we are really always excited about, with our devotions is as folks from the communities to lead the devotion. And this morning we have leading our devotion Jaylyn Maddox. And before I say a few words about Jaylyn, I'm going to read a devotional statement. We always use it to ground our devotion. It's up behind me too. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community. Recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside revitalization effort, the time at the beginning of our meetings is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. So, I'm excited that Jaylyn Maddox is actually one of our Home on the West Side homeowners, and he is living in English Avenue. He and I share the same street in English Avenue, Sunset Avenue. I live in Vine City, Sunset, and it's also the last street that Dr. Martin Luther King with his family called home. But as Eileen and Jaylyn has a special heart for service, and so one of the things we really appreciate about him being here this morning is he's going to speak more from that service heart. But he's a father, an entrepreneur, a technologist, a community builder with deep ties to the West Side. He grew up in this community. He is professionally, he's the co-founder of Create, where he provides technology services, including AI enablement and cloud computing solutions, helping organizations prepare for the tools and economy of the future. And beyond his technology, he's committed to making a meaningful impact, leaving the world better than he found it, and investing in mentorship. And we're very, very excited, Jaylyn, that you're going to lead us in devotion. So as he comes up, please give him a very encouraging, warm welcome.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all for today. I do appreciate the opportunity to speak with Westside Future Fund. A nonprofit organization I think has made a profound impact on my life and the lives of so many others nearby us. When it comes to the West Side and overall, it's something we talk about Atlanta. Well, I think that's part of what makes Atlanta Atlanta, regardless of what everyone else's thoughts are, no matter if you're from here or not. It's something that's impactful towards the culture. It's influenced a lot of the culture, and just grateful to be so connected to it. And so when we talk about, how can we continue to move the world forward? How can we continue to make an impact? I think organizations like the Westside Future Fund, it's living in by example. There's a lot of talking of making the world a better place, but then when it becomes time to do the actual work, those same opinions, they're not the same people who are taking action, right? Which makes it difficult, especially when we talk about nonprofit things, where we live in a capitalist world where everyone wants to focus on for-profit, right? Which makes it hard to make investments in the community. That does not always generate an ROI from a dollar's perspective. But as it relates to impact, I'm grateful to be able to do this. The Westside Future Fund, like they said earlier, I am a homeowner. I closed on my home in May 2025 last year. Thank you. And I'm a young father as well. My daughter's 2 years old, and when I was in the hospital room when she was born, one of my biggest focuses was, how can I make sure that she lives in a world that is better than the world when I came into it and I grew up into it. And since becoming a father, it's made me a lot more intentional with the things that I do and the people I meet and the actions I choose to take. And so that's shaped almost everything that we've done. And when it comes to work in the area and in the community. So having a home, a freshly built home, new construction home, where she can run around and play and not worry about, the roof caving in or anything like that. She feels safe, and it makes me smile every single day seeing that, because it tells me that, okay, that, there's a future where she's going to be happy. And she's also going to have the right resources around her to really be able to accomplish the things that she wants in her life. And I think resources is something that is very key when we talk about how can we continue to make an impact, how can the community itself grow. Resources are important, and I think awareness about the resources is the biggest key. It's not enough for people to have or the opportunities to be there, but the awareness that these opportunities are there and that you qualify for these opportunities, whether it's from a housing, whether it's from an educational, whether it's from even a workforce standpoint. That's how you create a community where it's cyclical in terms of the growth and development. It's funny, I was in South Africa, in Johannesburg and in Cape Town in November, and we were talking with some of the nonprofit leaders over there, and one of the things that they noted was that, they have a lot of talent who gets trained up, and then they usually get outsourced, and once they go to school, they end up, leaving the country and getting a job, I don't know, in France or in America, right? Which is great for us, right? So selfishly as Americans, but they talked about how even though they've trained up their youth in the community, they leave and they call it a brain drain, where those same people who are now educated and they're making that money, they still spend that money in that new country of where they're working at. They're not returning those resources back to their home country. They're not returning that knowledge, that level of access, those level of opportunities back to their home countries, which only results in further continuous problem of, resources being extracted out of said country. Well, that kind of hit home because when I look at our community here on the West Side, resources are being provided, people are learning, but where is the opportunity for those who now get a brand new job, get a higher paying job? Where's the opportunity for them now to come back into the community, to work in the community, to create jobs inside of the community, to allow more youth to be able to work in those internships and jobs, but create the economic where it stays inside of the community, thus allowing the community to grow and thrive and not be so dependent on external sources to continue to thrive, right? And so, while that's important, again, it's important to talk about it, but it's also important to do that. And so, like they mentioned earlier, I do have a background in technology. Growing up, I grew up with ADHD. So I was the generation who played video games a lot. And with that, I noticed that I really did like to learn, but I really like to learn things that was able to keep my attention. And so going through the, traditional, institutional paths, like I went to Georgia State University, and while that was amazing, I struggled with finding my purpose through the education of what I was learning. And I needed something that was always changing, where as I'm learning, I'm always able to grow and keep my mind sharp. And I tried insurance, I even tried parts of finance, but technology was something where it really hit home, where I was able to understand it on a deeper level, but then also say, okay, well, how can we, make an impact here? And so, working in enterprise technology, working with clients who, mid-market enterprise companies who need access to advisors who help them grow, I had that opportunity in corporate. And it was an amazing thing to be able to do. But what it taught me was that, hey, you have leaders who are executives of companies. Yes, they are in a leadership position, but they still don't know how to actually achieve that initiative that the company has set. And so a lot of times they pull in, consultants or brokers or outside help to help them think through and solve these challenges that they have. And so, blessed to have that opportunity to do that. But as I was doing that, I said, in my own backyard, we're talking high-level enterprise technology, but even in our own community, people don't even know some of this stuff even exists. And so I put an extreme amount of focus in learning technology like AI. And so with that being said, we do a lot of education on how can you create more economic development? How can you create more economic growth? And I think education with these modern day tools is what allows you to do that. For so long, if you wanted to build a solution to the problem, let's say you wanted to write some type of software to solve a problem that you and your community notices, well, the issue is that you see the problem, but the issue is that gap in between, which is needing the technical talent or the capital, and usually both, to be able to bring that solution to life. And so with now modern day technologies, being able to cut down the amount of time it takes to bring solutions to life, both on the amount of talent you need in terms of technical talent, as well as the capital that's needed to bring these solutions to life. It's no longer about can you do it, but it's now so about are you aware of how to do that, and are you enabled, are you educated on how to use these tools? And so programs like the Westside Future Fund, I mean, I'm thankful for that because I see that true investment into the community. I look forward on being able to take action here, lead these types of initiatives, and work with others who have the problems and they know how to do the solutions, but they just need the help on really bringing it to life. And so when we talk about devotion and serving the community, I think that's what is some of those things that it requires, of being able to just serve those who they want the opportunity, they just need the guidance and that mentorship to be able to do that. And so, again, I'm really happy to be able to do this type of work. We call it heart work because you don't necessarily make profit off of it, but you make an impact, and that's what lasts generations. Where it won't always happen. So thank y'all, and have a great day.
All right, well, thank you, Jaylyn. I think one thing I just really appreciate about your remarks was because clearly you have very much intentionality coming back to your community and how you bring all your resources, to lean into your community. So I just really appreciate that about your remarks. And I see a lot of folks in the audience, living in English Avenue, Vine Street, and others. And the neighborhoods are getting much better, and Courtney and the mayor and many others are working hard to make it even better, but it's still challenging. And obviously you could have made a different choice, but you chose to serve the community that you came from to come back. And I was saying to Jaylyn before we started, living on Sunset, one of my accountability points is to go in front of Dr. King's last family home, and imagine if he and Coretta were on the porch, and there's like, what did you get done today? What would I want to say? And I think one of the things that I've come to more deeply appreciate is I think he'd really want to know, and Coretta, not so much the skin color, et cetera, but do my neighbors have hearts of service? Do they care about the other? Do they care about the community, and will they go to bat? So thank you for bringing that truth to light this morning. So let's give them another round. So now we're going to take 5 minutes. We used to, in our Transform Westside Summits, go around and do self-introductions. It became very challenging to kind of keep the program and do the self-introductions, but we still very much back to the heart of the work, building community around a common set of values, right? So we want to, and then this is the point of this next 5 minutes. We're going to take 5 minutes for fellowship, and I would encourage you to get to know your neighbor. And say hello, introduce, because part of what is the strength of these summits is new connectivity that comes out of them based on these shared values of restoration on a historic West Side. So we're going to start the clock. So we'll take about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back, do a quick overview of our homes for sale, then we'll get into our program with Courtney.
Girl, don't you know, you're so beautiful. I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Girl, don't you know you're so beautiful? I wanna give all my love to you, girl. Not just tonight, but the rest of your life. I wanna be always here by your side. Baby, don't you know you're so beautiful? 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 Baby, don't you know you're so beautiful?
1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute until the show resumes. Please take your seats. Everyone, please take your seats. Please take your seats. Everyone, please take your seats.
They haven't turned on my mic. All right, we love the fellowship. We're ready to get going with our program again, so if everyone can come back and take a seat. So please come on, and if you could come on and sit back down, that would be awesome. We're very excited to get through the rest of our program today. We're very excited to get to our Home Depot and gift card winner, so please come on, take a seat. Thank you. Thank you. So raise your, let me see who followed the assignment. Raise your hand if you met somebody new. All right, that's amazing. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. We appreciate that. So this is Tamika. Tamika is director of Westside Future Fund's Home on the West Side. For those of you that haven't met her, does an amazing job. And back to rebuilding community, our Home on the West Side program is a core program of the Westside Future Fund. So I'm going to ask Tamika to say a few words about it, and for those that would be interested, share a little bit more how to get plugged in. So Tamika.
Can you hear me? Well, good morning, everyone.
Hold it close to your mouth.
I am Tamika Askew, the director of Home on the West Side. I'm really a shy person. Y'all believe that? But I'm really a behind-the-scenes person. I just like to do the work and serve the people. But Home on the West Side is our signature program where we build homes. We have multifamilies, and we also have an anti-displacement tax program. So today, we just want to showcase a couple of the homes that are actually for sale. And I think John usually does this where we talk about the down payment assistance that we actually offer, which is based on your AMI. So we offer up to $60,000 worth of down payment assistance that can actually be layered with Invest Atlanta's, Atlanta Housing, and when the Federal Home Loan Bank actually has funding as well. So we've had our last purchaser that closed in June. He got $137,500 worth of down payment assistance. And the biggest thing I try to tell people, because we have people that come in and say, I'm interested, I want to purchase a home. But do you know your credit score? Do you have money in savings? So we actually created a home buyer readiness checklist after you actually qualify for the program through our Live, Work, Learn. And I've had people to come in, you have the credit score, but you don't have the savings. So we actually send them to Mercedes Settles, who's our financial coach, to actually get that savings up. Because we're not just building homes, we're actually building you up to be successful. So we can put you in a home, but can you stay there? That's the biggest thing. So yeah, you might be ready mentally, but we want to get you ready financially as well. Because it's not just paying your mortgage. You have all these other little things that actually come up as well. So right now I'm going to show you some of the homes that we actually have for sale. So this is 595 English. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Open floor plan, spacious. It is on English Avenue. Beautiful home inside and out. But if anyone wants to see actually the homes, you can reach out to me and actually Mia, who's the Home on the West Side program coordinator, or if you're interested in the program, just reach out to us, okay? This one is actually $370. It's $370. But think about it. If you qualify and you have the AMI, that's not the price. That's the price of it. But with the DPA, it goes down to that. But you're going into a home actually with equity. I try to explain that to people as well. This is 574 James P. Brawley, 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. 565 English Avenue, 1,440 square feet. 3-bedroom, 3-bath. 569 English. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath home. 7067 North Avenue. This one is not quite ready, but it is coming. 470 James B. Brawley. This one is coming as well. 491 Paynes. It is coming soon. It's supposed to be ready at Q4. 511 Oliver Street. 513 Oliver Street, 839 Boone Boulevard, and these are our multifamilies. So we have units that are actually ready to rent. So if you know anyone or if you're interested in renting from us, please contact me as well, okay? 646 Echo Street. And this is the QR code you can actually scan to find out more about the program, and actually the application is on that as well. Once you fill that out, it actually comes to myself and Mia, and we will start the process from there.
That's your website?
This is the website. And that's it, guys.
You can see we have, for those that aren't familiar, the intentionality of our program is to give those that with a historic connection to the West Side neighborhoods, live, learn, work, prioritization. So as we look to rebuild community, folks that have, like Jaylyn, a connection to it. So Tamika and her team do a wonderful job, and so thank you, Tamika, for going through that today. And actually, it's a great segue. I'm really excited that Courtney is here today, the mayor's chief of staff. Courtney is, for those that aren't deep, know Courtney's bio, it's in our program, if you can get from our QR code. But Courtney is a native of the West Side. I first met Courtney when he was still, I think, just coming out of the Teach for America program. So Courtney went through a Teach for America program, back to Heart of Service. He got on the Atlanta School Board, became the chair of the Atlanta School Board, served there, and then worked in affordable housing, and has been, I know, one of the mayor's top leaders, and where I'm really excited for Courtney today. He's been although it's really been in the press over the last year. Courtney and his team and the mayor have been working on it for like 3 to 4 years, really, which is the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative. And I'm gonna let Courtney talk more about what that is today. But what I really appreciate about the mayor and Courtney and his team is you saw the intentionality that we have as these West Side neighborhoods. I grew up on the East Side in Druid Hills area. And one thing I came to appreciate is that once a neighborhood fully manifests, it's really hard to go back and make it affordable. And even if you can't make it affordable, the people that now moved in don't want neighbors that they don't think, will mess with their home values, right? So the key is how do you, as the neighborhoods become more vibrant, ensure those that have suffered through them or call them home can be a part of that rising tide. And that's what I'm so deeply, grateful to the mayor and Courtney and his team, is to ground the whole Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative in the residents. And I know he'll talk more about that today as a North Star, but he's been working really hard. So let's give him a very encouraging, warm welcome as he comes on up to be with us today. Thanks, bud. Come on in, see.
John forgot to tell y'all I went to the finest high school in the city of Atlanta, Douglas High School, and Morehouse College. But, you could have stopped the bio there, Morehouse Doug, and just, let's get on with it. How you doing, John?
See, I'm actually always nervous to do it because then I got to say what high school I went to.
It's all good, man.
And my high school didn't even have a football team, so I actually don't feel like a Southern man. I went to Padilla School. We did soccer, no football. So
well, that's why you live in the Washington cluster now.
That's right.
The Bulldogs, they got you covered, brother. We got you. What are we supposed to be talking about? What are we doing? Sorry, I get off track. I'm easily distracted.
We want to hear about the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative.
Sure.
And for those that may be hearing about it for the first time, it's been in the press a lot. But if you want to kind of tell folks, the core of the neighborhood reinvestment, so folks to really understand, what you and the mayor are trying to, accomplish through the initiative. I know it's passed out Atlanta City Council. Maybe just give people a quick overview of what it is.
Sure. First and foremost, good morning to all of you. Thank you for your interest in such important community-based work. Thank you for your interest in building an Atlanta that works for everyone. Thank you for your specific interest in the West Side. And John, thank you for the leadership of you and your team. It's great to be with you all this morning. The broad goal of this mayor is to make Atlanta the best place in the country to raise a child. It's what we think about every single day, is how we have tried to organize government, is how we have tried to allocate resources. In order to bring that vision into reality, we have to have a city of healthy, whole, connected neighborhoods that are safe, where people can work their way up the economic ladder and ultimately live what we call a choice-filled life. They have freedom of choice, they have freedom of movement, they have freedom to access opportunity. The truth of it is that that opportunity is not evenly distributed across Atlanta. If you were to draw a dotted line from northwest Atlanta to southeast Atlanta, you would quickly see a tale of two cities. Folks who live above that line have greater access to healthcare. They have greater access to housing. They have greater access to transit. They have greater access to jobs. Folks who live below that line don't. Quite simply, folks who grew up in neighborhoods like mine, like Oakland City, which is just a few minutes away from here, what you will find very quickly is that there's a huge disparity between that line. In fact, it's accentuated by the fact that there's a 20-year life expectancy gap by neighborhoods in the city of Atlanta that are just separated by 7 miles. 20 years of life. And every single year, 1,200 kids are born into neighborhoods where literally their zip code can determine their destiny. So the bottom line is the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative is designed to correct that trend. It's designed to close a gap on a tale of two cities by investing in the most underserved communities throughout the city. And so we've partnered with organizations like the Westside Future Fund. We've partnered with neighborhood-based groups like Focus Community Strategies and Southeast Atlanta to do work, to build things like affordable housing, to create access to healthcare, to build things like grocery stores in neighborhoods that don't have them. So essentially, again, close the gap on the tale of two cities and ensure that residents that for far too long have gone without have everything they need to thrive in the city of Atlanta as Atlanta continues to grow.
No, thank you. And with the passage by the Atlanta City Council of the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative, what would you say folks to really expect to see over the next 6-8 months as stuff starts to really roll out?
Yeah. So a little over a month ago, the Atlanta City Council, after really 2.5 years of hard work inside a community, working with community leaders, working with nonprofit organizations, working with service providers, working with clergy and everybody in between, the Atlanta City Council passed the bill, the NRI legislation. It passed by 13-2. And so you had a coalition of folks from north, south, east, and west. You had a coalition of folks, black, white, otherwise. You had a coalition of folks who span ages across the city come together and say, we want to fix what we believe is the biggest problem facing the city of Atlanta. A city cannot thrive if we concentrate opportunity in one place. And so what you can expect now that it has passed Atlanta City Council is that we're going to work really, really hard with our neighbors at APS, our partners at APS, to ensure that the policies passed there. There are 3 different bodies that have to pass one of the key funding tools to pay for the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative, which is called a TAB, which I'm sure you might ask me a complicated question about in a second. But we need APS to sign on. We need Fulton to sign on. The county and the city has already signed on. And so we're going to be working with our partners at APS. And while we do that, you will see us making dramatic change inside the neighborhoods. You'll see us accelerating building more affordable housing. You'll see us accelerating launching more municipal grocery stores. How many people know that Atlanta opened the first municipally owned grocery store in its history about a year ago? All right, a few folks, right? A few folks. It's called Azalea Market. Well, grocery store number 2, or Azalea Market number 2, is going to be opening later this year on Campbellton Road. We've identified the site for grocery store number 3. We're not going to break any news today. I'm sorry, Maria. We're not going to break any news today about where it's going to be, but we've already identified site number 3. So you'll see us moving on projects like that. You'll see us moving to get affordable housing out of the ground faster. You'll see us moving to roll out what we call an anti-displacement toolkit, because it does us no good to redevelop a community, to bring amenities to a community if the folks who were there before can't afford to stay there. And so we developed what we believe is the most comprehensive anti-displacement playbook in the entire country, designed to hold and keep legacy residents in place. Hey, there are thousands of cities across the country. Anybody want to take a guess around how many of them actually have anti-displacement policies on the book? 5. Literally 5. So about 3,000 municipalities, 5 have anti-displacement framework. About 3 of them have actual policies on the book. And Atlanta, your Atlanta City Council, working in conjunction with our mayor, just passed the most comprehensive anti-displacement playbook, we believe, in the entire country. So you'll see us working with community-based organizations to roll that out to ensure that we can keep legacy residents in place while we bring the much-needed amenities that many of our neighborhoods have lacked.
So for folks that want to tap more into the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative or organizations, where would you tell people to go for more information, how to leverage new opportunities that may be coming from the initiative?
Sure, absolutely. So the first thing I would tell you is on a monthly basis, we targeted 7 key areas to start doing a deep dive of this work. So if you're on the West Side, you have a neighborhood partner organization. Anybody want to guess who the neighborhood partner organization is for the West Side? All right, cool. All right. I'm a teacher, so y'all got to talk back to me. So West Side Future Fund is our neighborhood partner organization. And every month they convene a working group that is open to anybody who is interested in advancing this community development work on the west side of the city of Atlanta. So you can show up to the West Side Future Fund office. You know the date. When are the meetings, John?
Well, we have our neighborhood transformation officer here from the city, Mandy, that leads. Yes.
Yeah. When are our meetings?
So the fourth Monday of every month at our offices, 970 Jefferson Street, we host it from 5:30 to 7:30. To help even incentivize you, we offer food, so you can have a dinner, and we always have a program speaker. And what I really appreciate about the Neighborhood Reinvestment Initiative is senior officers of the city come. So if the community says we want to hear from the watershed commissioner or the transportation or others, so a big part of it is direct community input to some of the real officers of the city. And then, and I know you might want to talk, but one of the things that the city's been working on the last couple of years is kind of a prioritized list of projects that the community would really like to see the city push forward. And so the neighborhood working group, is kind of curating those projects which are pulled from, the MPU work, et cetera. But that's, I know, and you may want to talk about how you're using the input from the communities as you frame your work going forward.
Certainly. So the primary goal of these working groups is to take years of community feedback. One of the things that we learn when talking to community, if you go ask folks what they need, well, they'll tell you, and candidly, you all have been telling us. We need access to grocery stores. We need access to things like affordable housing. We need better jobs. We need the basics of government. We need paved roads, fixed sidewalks. We need more lighting in our neighborhood. We need our communities to be safer. We want access to parks, trails, and green space, just like they have in other parts of the city. And so one of the things that these neighborhood working groups serve to do is to elevate them and present essentially the city government with a project list that we can go attack. That, some of it's low-hanging fruit, easy to do. Sidewalks broken, well, let's just go fix the sidewalk as fast as humanly possible. We just did some of that work on Broadley Avenue, and it's ongoing right now. Some folks have said, hey, look, we need more single-family for sale housing. Okay, well, great. Let's go get more single-family for sale housing out of the ground. Some other folks have said we need to expand our anti-displacement tax fund, which you just heard about. So we made it citywide, and 455 people now are going to have their taxes frozen for a 20-year period so that they don't get pushed out of their own communities. And so a lot of that work really is grounded or comes from the neighborhood working groups. And so we are trying to do the best job we can of listening to community, responding to community, and then acting with urgency. I call it acting like the world is coming to an end, because for too many of our families, the world is coming to an end. And they're being pushed out of the city that they have known and called home for far too long. So that work is grounded. It happens on the ground in these working groups. So we invite you all to participate.
No, thank you. And I should say, along Donley Howe Court of the Grove Park Foundation, hosts neighborhood working groups for the Grove Park Bankhead neighborhood, and then, the West Howe Foundation, led by Larry Stewart, does a similar working group for neighborhoods on West Howe. And maybe, in just a moment, we're going to open it up for Q&A. But maybe to lead to that, because I know there was a lot of intentionality, Courtney, by you and the team, that y'all really wanted to rethink how, especially TAB money went out the door, how you wanted to evaluate it. So
Yes.
you may say to folks, it was a big shift, I think, in how y'all really wanted to be very intentional about how you want TAD dollars to be measured against.
Yeah, so we have a funding mechanism in the city of Atlanta called a tax allocation district. I'm not going to get too in the weeds of it, only to say, how many people have been to Atlantic Station? Anybody know what Atlantic Station was 30 years ago? It was a brownfield. It was Atlantic Steel. What turned Atlantic Station into Atlantic Station that we know and love today is a TAD. Anybody ever been to Princeton Lakes or Camp Creek Marketplace? What was it 30 years ago? A fishing hole. Yeah, it was the woods. So for folks who might not know, Camp Creek Marketplace or Princeton Lakes, there was nothing there. It was essentially the place you go to fish or walk through the woods and chase the Adamsville buck. Anybody know what the Adamsville buck is? Yeah, old Atlanta was. And so the bottom line is what turned Camp Creek Marketplace into what you see today is a TAD. Anybody ever taken a walk on the East Side Trail? All right, well, what made the East Side Trail or the entire Atlanta Beltline is a TAD. What John is getting at is that part of the way we fund or can fund this work inside of communities is through an expansion of TADs. But previously, our TAD dollars are measured based on, how many units of housing got built or how many businesses we could attract or how much development happened in a certain area. And that stuff was cool, but it was incomplete. It wasn't people-based. It wasn't connected to community enough. And so what we have said is we don't want to just measure our success based on how many units we create. We want to measure our success based on how many lives we save. Are our communities becoming safer? Are we holding on to legacy residents? Are we holding on to legacy businesses? Are we encouraging growth in a way that does not push out legacy residents? So these are the new metrics by which we will hold ourselves accountable. One of the things that we're most excited about, John told you I was on the school board for a second. I used to be a teacher. And one of the things that our school system faces is there's about a 30% mobility rate, meaning the number of times a kid is going to move in the Atlanta public school system. So imagine a world where 30% of the kids are going to be different at the end of the year than they were at the start of the year. It makes it a little bit harder to teach, right? Well, here's the truth of it. In the lowest performing schools in APS, that number can jump as high as 60%. So 60% of your kids are going to move from one place to another in a given school year. It doesn't matter how great a teacher you are, and I thought I was pretty good. It doesn't matter how strong of a curriculum you have. It doesn't matter if you've got the best and brightest inside of your schools, which I believe our school system does. 60% of your kids are going to go somewhere else. So one of the metrics that we are holding ourselves accountable now is how do we reduce student mobility? How do we keep our kids in place? How do we reduce evictions? How do we ensure that we're increasing our access to fresh food and grocery? These are the metrics that are actually tied to people, and it's how we want you all to hold us accountable for doing this work going forward.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I, really appreciate an opportunity to compliment you and the team, because you really did bring in a lot of best practice thinking, how you can learn from others and really do something in the city that is very much cutting edge. And I know that I'm sure folks have questions, so if you want to ask a question, raise your hand, we'll bring a mic to you. And also, and when you ask your question, please hold your mic close to the mouth so it'll pick up. But I see one right in the okay. Oh, I didn't know there are two mics. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, thank you. I just want to know, when you talk about the Westside Market Group, how far does that extend?
So the question was about the Westside Working Group. And so there are 3 working groups that extend the entirety of the Bankhead or Hallowell corridor. The first is the Westside Future Fund. You could tell them your footprint.
English Avenue, Vine City.
Yeah. Yeah, so English Avenue, Vine City. The second neighborhood is the Grove Park area, and then everything on the other side of Grove Park is what we have just, for organizational purposes, we call it West Hallowell. And so there's a West Hallowell Foundation that is working with that area to convene people as well. And so there are 3 different organizations who are working to bring community together on the West Side.
So if you live off Martin Luther King,
Yes?
off Hamilton E. Holmes, Payne
Yes.
Road, the West Side group does not go that far, right?
No, it does, actually. So it does, because, yes, the short answer to your question is yes. You are more than welcome to attend. If you are closer to the Grove Park area, closer to Collier Heights, then you should go to the Grove Park working group, which happens, Mindy can tell us, 4th Thursday of every month at 12. And then there's a West Side, the West Hallowell Foundation. We'll get it for you. We'll make sure you know by the end of the month. But there are 3 different by the end of the meeting. We'll make sure you know all of those dates, and you can find them online, and we'll get that information out. I'll make sure we disseminate that information.
Maria Supporta of Supporta Report and Atlanta Way 2.0. When y'all first were talking about extending the TADs, there were 8 TADs that you were going to extend, and it was going to generate, you said, at least $5 billion for the city to be able to invest in NRI. Congratulations on getting the city council to pass this, but they passed only extending 6 TADs, leaving out the largest TAD, which is the Beltline TAD. Can you share your adjusted numbers on what now with the 6 TADs, and obviously you still have work to do to get either Fulton County or Atlanta Public Schools to be your partner. Can you share with us what the revised numbers of what that would generate and what your plan B is if this funding plan does not go through?
Yeah. So I'll say our original project list, based on years of feedback from community, we looked at almost every single development plan the city has ever done inside of these neighborhoods. And lo and behold, a lot of them become shelf documents. They just kind of sit there. And when you talk to community, they said, and you ask, well, what do you want to see? They said, well, we want to see the stuff that you promised us 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And so that project list, updated by community feedback through our working groups, said we needed about $5.5 billion worth of investment. And we said, okay, well, how do we pay for that? One of the tools that we're going to use, which I talked about earlier, is TADs. That's what Maria is getting at. And so our original project list is $5.5 billion. Well, the city council said, hey, look, well, we don't know that we want to pass all of them, at least not yet. Here's the thing, Maria. The TAD is such a powerful tool. Our original projection would have generated $12 billion of investment throughout the city. Our original plan was to take the $5 billion that we needed to do work in community, to build things like affordable housing, to build things like grocery stores, to build things or pay for early education centers. We're going to take that $5 billion and do that work. The rest of it, our plan was to just give back to the district. So we would have given back a significant portion of that money back to APS. We would have given back a significant portion of that money back to Fulton County, and the city would have held some of that money to continue to do city services. So the plan is still going to generate, as it stands today, anywhere between $5 to $7 billion for investment. So it's not the 12, so we don't have as much money to give back to the jurisdictions. So, our margins are a little bit thinner to deliver projects, but we still have more than enough money we need, provided that we get all of the participation from APS and the county. I told you complicated questions we're asking. I'll be around later for anybody who wants to do a deeper dive on TADs.
Good morning. I am Kurt Beasley. I have a question. Here I am,
Hey.
right over here. How are you? When you spoke on freezing the taxes for 20 years,
Yes.
so that it will not force people out of their homes, what happens after the 20 years? Are those numbers forgiven, or do those numbers have to be paid later?
Yeah, there will, after the 20-year period, there will be an adjustment for it'll technically adjust back to whatever the tax rate is on that day, unless we can continue to generate additional funds to put in the fund. If I had my druthers, I would make the fund permanent, but I need a whole lot of money to do that. We got the original money to fund the anti-displacement fund when the Gulch was, or when Centennial Yards was created. We were able to expand that through additional development deals that happen around town that we put back into the anti-displacement fund. And so the more money we raise, the more deals like that can go into that fund, the longer the program can last and the more people we serve. But right now, for the 455 people, it's frozen for 20 years. We're excited about that. I want it to go as long as humanly possible for as many people as humanly possible. So we have more work to do there.
You want to stand up? Listen, you make us much more proud of Atlanta. Thank you so much about the anti-displacement. Here's a simple question. The existing hub at Bankhead MARTA, the existing jobs at Fulton County and Grady Clinic, is there a role that the city or Atlanta Regional Commission or the county can play to accelerate the infill on that surface parking lot, put some parking so you actually have a benefit added to MARTA? Yes. That you really could grow a hub pretty quickly compared to a lot of the other groundwork that needs to be happening for other hubs?
Make sure I understand the question. Is there anything we could do to accelerate development?
And part of that question is, can you fund, in addition to doing grocery projects, can you do municipal parking next to MARTA at an existing station would be one simple question for that.
Yeah. So the short answer to your question is, yes, we can use dollars generated either through TAD or what we call the NRI Trust Fund to create additional development opportunities next to transit-oriented developments. And so the mayor has outlined some key areas that we want to see transit-oriented developments come out of the ground faster. We want to build 4 infill stations, 4 new MARTA stations around every single point where the belt line touches the MARTA system. That's Murphy's Crossing on the west side, or in the West End, to be more specific. That's at Boone, directly on the west side, a few minutes from where we sit today, Krog Street, as well as the Lindbergh area. And so we have designs to increase connectivity and do development next to transit. We have signed an intergovernmental agreement that should be we have negotiated an intergovernmental agreement with MARTA to actually assume the development responsibilities for some of their MARTA stations. I might be breaking news, my bad. Maria gonna hold it. Yes, we have negotiated an intergovernmental agreement. I'm not gonna tell you where, but we have negotiated an intergovernmental agreement with MARTA to assume some of their to build out transit-oriented development for some of their train stations. You'll hear more about that when those agreements come before the board, the MARTA board and City Council. Know that we are affordable housing maniacs. We've gotten really good at it over the last 5 years, and so we believe we can help MARTA get that stuff out of the ground faster. And so that's coming your way in short order.
Good morning. I'm a Vine City resident, and I'm curious to know the city's stance on the Atlanta mission. I believe it undermines the NRI initiative that you all have going on. So exactly, I haven't heard any news about it from the city. It seems like it's dying out, but what exactly are you doing to work with them so that it doesn't? Or maybe you can replace them, find them another location, maybe by city cops or something that can be more conducive for them and for the community.
Yeah. So I think the question was about, there was a project that was proposed to expand the Atlanta mission on the west side in an area that had been promised. There were some promises made to community that area is going to be used for mixed-use development, actually, housing, retail, and things of that nature. Our position is simple. We want what the community wants. And our first answer is when we hear about a new project that we didn't help generate, that we didn't, when people come talk to us, our first response is, sounds fine, go talk to the community and let us know what the community says. I think on this particular project, the community has spoken has been very organized and clear that this is not the type of development that they want to see in the area. And so our goal now is to do really two things. One, ensure that we get something in that space that honors the wishes of the community, that respects the community development plans that have been generated, and we identify another place that's appropriate for that project. And so we believe very, very deeply in the idea, the concept of this kind of all-in-one approach to support the unhoused. Let's just figure out a better place for it to go. And so that's our conversation now. No decisions have been made, but we want to see the project in a good place that works, and we want to see the community get what it was promised. So.
Hi, my name is Cairo Ballard. I'm a new Atlanta resident.
But you're going to Brown, man.
Yeah.
Like, so you're hearing and you're leaving it. Sorry.
Yeah. On my way to Brown University in the fall, and I hope to do what you're.
He's going to Brown, man. Like, we can clap for Brown. Yeah. It's not Morehouse, but it's fine.
I know it's not Morehouse for sure, but I hope to do what you're doing one day. And learning, I've never heard about what a TAD is before today, but hearing that it could fund like cutting taxes for 450,000 people, I was wondering what mechanism specifically uses to raise funds, because you said that the metrics that you're using, instead of just being about economic growth, it's about lives saved.
Yes.
And I'm really interested in like how that works, like kind of like the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah. So I'll give you, so the way a TAD is a funding mechanism that the easiest way to explain it is that if your property today is worth $5 and the value of your property grows to $6, instead of that extra dollar coming back to government, we reinvest that dollar back into community. So when the property growth goes from 5 to 6, we take that dollar, instead of it going to APS or the city or Fulton County, we take it and reinvest it in communities to do capital projects, to build things. And we can build, we use it to fund the Azalea Market downtown. We're using it to fund the second municipal grocery store on Campbellton Road. And so the idea that connects the TAD dollars to community growth and community preservation is that poverty is a byproduct of place. You asked for the nitty gritty, so you give me 2 seconds. Our city, when I talked about that dotted line that separated opportunity in the city, that didn't happen by accident. It was the results of malicious policy decisions that were designed to separate people based on race and class. Well, it turns out if you concentrate poverty in a certain area, and then if you starve that area of investment, if you refuse to give it access to transit, if you don't build grocery stores in those areas, if you don't invest in healthcare in those areas, well, you're going to get some pretty bad results for the people living in those areas that is of no fault of their own. And so the power a TAD has to do is to transform that place and bring and inject capital into communities in a way that allows us to build a lot of the things that we have seen in other places across the city. It might be difficult to believe, but in 2026, there's an entire council district in the city of Atlanta that does not have one decent grocery store. Think about that for a second. I'm gonna say it again. There's an entire council district represents anywhere between 30,000 and 50,000 people. There's an entire council district in this city today that does not have one decent grocery store. If you ride down, if you go back to Northside Drive and you turn left on Bankhead, Holloway Highway for you fancy people, if you turn left on Bankhead, you'll ride down Bankhead, you'll ride the entirety of the corridor, the 7-mile corridor, and get to the edge of the city and not pass a single decent grocery store. That is the result of bad policy. Actually, it's not. It was intentional policy decision because that result was designed, it was designed by over 100 years ago to starve that community of investment. So what a TAD represents, what the NRI as a whole represents, is an intentional effort to reverse that trend and invest in communities. Council District 2, one of the fastest growing council districts in the city of Atlanta, has more grocery stores in it. Council District 2 has more grocery stores in it than Council Districts 10, 11, and 12 combined. gonna say that again for you. So Council District 2 has more grocery stores in it than Council Districts 10, 11, and 12 combined. Well, some folks might there who pull out a pen and say, well, where's Council District 2? It's in town. It's on the east side of the city of Atlanta. Think Old Fourth Ward, or what I call New Old Fourth Ward. Think Morningside in areas like that. So some people might be saying, well, maybe that's because they got more people. No. There are 3 times as more people in Council District 10, 11, and 12 than there are in Council District 2. So that ain't it, right? And so those results were intentional. So we've got parts of the city that have greater access to things like fresh food. There's not a hospital south of I-20 in the city at all. At all. But if you think about north of I-20, you got, well, wait a minute, you got Grady, you got Crawford Lawn, you got Piedmont, you keep going, you got Northside, you got Emory. There are 5 hospitals north of I-20, and you can't find a single hospital south of I-20 at all. That's an intentional policy decision. That was done 100 years ago, and it was designed, again, to separate people based on race and class. And so it's a long-winded way of saying we can use TAD dollars and other funding mechanisms to give our communities what they deserve, which is access to housing, access to fresh food, access to health care, access to high-quality education, and that's what we're trying to do.
That's a great question. Answer and response. My name is Adrena Marie. I've been an advocate over here on the West Side for 26 years. So everything that you're saying in transparency, we have been working very hard to get this step here where we are. But my problem that I'm having is still going to be based on the elders that have been left behind.
Yes.
Now, the city of Atlanta have put 150 homes into a portfolio when we start doing this development over here for community development and economic stabilization. So these elders have been put out of their homes. And this funding that we have been blessed with to accumulate, we have been talking with the Mayor's Stabilization Board and coming up with some great strategies. It has not been anything put in place for the ones that have been left behind and the elders that cannot speak for themselves. So we, as the community, really need to go in depth with this because our elders at a certain age can't take care of themselves. So we must stand in the intercession of that and stand collectively with the mayor's office and the city of Atlanta and Westside Future Fund, because John's been doing a great job over here. So we want to really make sure that we can put something together in transparency to make sure that these elders stay healthy, secure, safe, and when the economics start coming in, we as the community, we as the people can make sure that we stabilize a fund just for them, not to be put on the wayside. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Davita Huntley. I'm an old Atlanta Grady baby. And I have a question for you, Courtney. So I think I'm in TAD University right now because I'm learning so much about TAD. But I'm finding one hiccup. Where can I go to find an open checkbook of previous TADs, projects, and how much those projects cost and how much money they generated back to the city?
Yeah, so the short answer to your question is the Invest Atlanta website. There's a breakdown of each TAD over the last 30 years, actually. And so you can look at it by TAD. You can see exactly which projects were funded at what amount. And the thing I will say, though, is that TAD's been around for a long time, right? At least most of the TADs have been around for a long time. There had only been one other audit of the TADs. One happened in 2012, and the other one was this year, actually. That's wholly unacceptable. It's wholly unacceptable. If you're auditing a thing after 30 years, well, that's not an audit, really. That's an autopsy. You're saying, I can't do anything with that data. I have no idea how I did, we don't know what happened to our elders in the community. We don't know whether or not this benefit actually improved the lives of people. It might have improved how the community looked, but did it actually do a thing to improve neighborhood health? We don't know. And so one of the things that we have done is we've changed it. And so we're going to audit our TADs every single year. We'll be doing that in conjunction with some independent agencies. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us where we need to lean in more. Tell us what's not working so we can make real-time adjustments. But short answer to your question is you can go to the Invest Atlanta website today and find that information. And the more recent TAD audit that just came out said that we need to do a better job of regularly updating our development plans, of regularly creating accountability mechanisms. And that audit is on the website as well.
Well, I know I see more, and I want to apologize. We're about running out of time. If folks want to follow up with you on further questions, like email or like you have other.
Yeah, so Courtney English, I like to think I'm pretty easy to find. My phone number is 404-593-5351, 404-593-5351. My email address iscenglish@atlantaga.gov, letter C, English@atlantaga.gov. I'm on all the social media stuff, and so you can track me there. I'm Courtney English for ATL on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, however Threads work. I think I'm just Courtney English on Threads. You can call John. John calls me all the time at all odd hours asking for stuff. And we try to be helpful and responsive to him as best we can. But we're at your service. And I truly believe that this work has to be done with people and not to people, which means we have to be responsive. We got to show up. I'll go anywhere, anytime to talk about this work. It's that important. We know there are a lot of complicated questions, and we're honest about the fact that we hadn't always gotten this work right. And so we got to learn from our mistakes to build, grow, and protect and advance the work that we're trying to do inside of communities. And so I'm happy to connect with anybody, whether it's at City Hall, whether or not it's at the local coffee shop, whether it's in community somewhere, whether it's in your neighborhood or in your house. We're an open book, and we want to make sure that people have access to the information so that we can deliver the kind of work that has to happen to build an Atlanta that works for everybody.
Well, thank you. And I was appreciating, one, y'all can appreciate, obviously, the deep knowledge that Courtney has about our city policy. We're very lucky. And also, right, you can feel his passion, right? You can see, right? And what I was reflecting on, if you go back and look at history books, some of the injustices that you spoke of, Courtney, the intentionality, people had a lot of passion to do the wrong thing.
That's deep.
You go back to people had a lot of passion to do the wrong thing.
That's deep.
So it would take a lot of passion to correct those wrongs and do the right thing. Do the right thing. And we can tell in our mayor's chief of staff and the mayor, how hard the passion with knowledge to do the right thing. And so let's give it up for Courtney for like an amazing presentation.
Thank you all. Thank you.
And we wanted everyone to feel great about the mayor's chief of staff, so we're going to let him do the gift card. All right. We're going to do the gift. We're not violating any public disclosures, all right? There's nothing.
Oh, no.
No, all right.
You just pick up
and call the last.
Okay.
That's for the Goodwill, and just read the numbers.
The first number is 1120298. 1120298. 1120298.
All right, you got a winner?
All right.
All right. And this is for the Home Depot gift card.
Second number is 3991719. 399.
All right.
There. All right. Excellent.
All right. Well, we want to thank it. We actually have coming up for our September Transform Westside Summit all the Booker T. Washington principles.
Perfect. That's
so
great.
We would love to see you back in a month. Have a great weekend, and thank you for being here.
Thank you all.